welcome everyone to the author spotlights of the Cinderella Monologues. I'm Olivia Rowe, your savvy social pro. And does it look like I have angel wings on or butterfly wings? Yes, that would appear so, and you're correct. So I've got butterfly wings on. These arrived just in time. I'm heading off to a Halloween party. Halloween is right around the corner on Monday. So I think that's the theme for this year. And I love these multicolored wings. Awesome. So please, if you haven't gotten your copy of Cinderella Monologues, do so today. Buy it on Amazon, paperback copy. And all these stories here are so rich and they are meant to be treasured. And please also join our Facebook group if you haven't done so already. That's where you can meet all the authors, every single author's on that Facebook group. And you can watch some previous author spotlights to see if there's any that you missed and catch up and really help to interact and meet some of the authors and get to know them as well beyond the chapter, beyond the book, because they each have such amazing gifts and talents, so many resources at their fingertips. And that's what I really enjoyed the most about doing these author spotlights is getting to know each author and their special, talent behind the scenes. And so today we are sitting down with Melissa Bollea Rowe, all the way from Nashville. She's a songwriter. She's an author. She's written 2 books already, even beyond Cinderella Monologues. She's an entrepreneur, public speaker. She's had her songs cut by artists all over the world. And one thing about Melissa is that she thrives in creativity. I'm so thrilled because there is a creative theme to many of our authors. I mean, we've sat down this week with Chris Dyer of Embellished Butterfly. We talked to Renee Michaud, who is a creative coach. And today we get to sit down with Melissa. So it's all really just tying in so beautifully. But Melissa thrives on creativity and she loves to inspire others to chase their dreams, perhaps even chase after their lost loves. So we'll get to her chapter in just a minute. Please, everyone, help me welcome Melissa.
Hi, awesome. Hi, Olivia. What an amazing intro. Thank you so much. I was blushing. That was very kind of you. And I love your wings. I've got wings behind me too. I've actually had this butterfly planing. It's Dolly Parton's artwork that I've had up here in my studio, or I've got my little keyboard and some of my guitars. So it's just only appropriate that I have the butterflies too. But I want to say also that I love your glasses because yes, they're hearts and I think they beautifully describe your big, beautiful heart, but they also look like wings. So good going there, girl.
Yes, hearts and butterflies. I am truly blossoming.
Yeah, you can't not smile really big when you're talking about butterflies and hearts, and especially women, because we directly relate to all of that, which is why we all got together on this fantastic anthology. Oh my gosh, the stories are incredible, are they not?
They are indeed. And I want to talk about your chapter. So you chose to write about almost like a school crush.
And yeah, I would say so. I mean, at that age, it's just, you're so young, it's like, but love is love. And I think that whether you're 100 years old or you're 5 years old, it's that there's a quote, I don't remember who it's by, but it says affinity happens in a single moment. And I happen to believe that because it happened to me walking the schools of Franklin Middle School, where I first saw Sean, this tall, handsome boy, and I was just, crushed over. So that's where our story starts. And it was wonderful to be able to tell it in here.
I love your chapter because it's so sweet and it just reminded me of like our innocence, right? A young girl's innocence, that first love, first kiss, which you clearly remember all the details.
Yes, absolutely. Isn't that so funny? It's like I talk about in this chapter how it's very odd to me that I can't remember some of the other things that took place in the moment, except for what was happening exactly between him and I. And I was joking about how, I was always like, oh, we're going to have our first kiss and meet me in the stairway in between class. And I'm just this little 12-year-old girl, not even having a clue as to what happens once we actually kiss. Do you just put your lips up, and do you So that first attempt was a failure on my behalf because I ended up running off and saying, "Oh my goodness, the bell is going to ring," and I ran away. But
Not
ultimately,
only
one of
Yeah,
our first.
not only is your chapter so sweet and innocent, there's also some bittersweet moments too. You know, being shuffled around as a kid because you
Yeah.
had lost your mom at an early age and your dad was somewhere else with another woman, and so being shuffled around grandparents, aunts, and uncles. So he was sort of like your guiding light in a way, and then you parted ways. I was stunned that
I mean, and if you
you
think
lived
about,
separate lives.
yes, and if you think about it, it's what are the chances anyway when you're that young? That, and I know there are stories, and I've met other people who have stories that, especially with their high school sweethearts and stuff. But this even goes way back earlier than that. Junior high school crush and stuff like that. But I like that you use that word. He was a constant in my life, and even though I didn't follow on and go on to the same schools after that he did and a lot of my friends did, because yes, I ended up moving around a lot. It was pretty sad and it was difficult, and looking back, I just can see it all a little clearer. But it was hard making new friends and going to new schools. I wanted to go on to the next school with all my friends, but I did move often. My mom was killed when I was a little girl. My dad ultimately ended up committing suicide. And so I talk about in this chapter that there were a lot of things I was sad about, but he gave me a lot of things and a lot of reasons to smile. And so that was a good feeling. And, back then we didn't, kids these days, oh my gosh, they stay connected by an iPhone. They just were born into a digital age, whereas we didn't have that. I think, there were pagers, and maybe, the really rich people had like phones in their cars, and the phones were like this big. But we didn't have that. It was just the good old telephone numbers and calling your house phone. And because I moved, of course, he would call, and he was young. And if my aunt or uncle said, "No, she doesn't live here anymore," I mean, sometimes it didn't go beyond that, or he would, shy up or want to say, "Well, where's she at now?" type thing. But through friends, we kind of kept up, and we would reconnect once in a while, only to go our separate ways again until ultimately, the story. We're here.
Well,
We're married.
we don't want to give it away because you got to read the chapter. So what
Yeah.
becomes of our first crush? You got to read the chapter.
What happened all these years later with that moment, where you see someone, you meet someone, and like I say, I mean, I truly believe that affinity happens in a single moment. So I hope that answers a lot of questions of, do people believe in love at first sight, or are those things real? My experiences, they are.
What is your quote? It's infinity. Infinity at
Oh, no, sorry, affinity.
affinity. Okay.
Or infinity. No, affinity happens in a single moment. And I think that's it. I mean, I heard that a long time ago. And I think the idea of it was that we're all just big balls of energy, and you can meet someone and you just kind of can know in that moment, or you get those feelings about them, and whatever those moments or those feelings are, and sometimes they can be, maybe you recognized your true love or your soulmate or a soulmate or your forever, your person in that moment. And so that's what I believe can happen in a single moment.
Beautiful. So I wrote it on the screen for everyone who's following along. Infinity happens in a single moment. And, we started off this conversation, in the post, I wrote about what is the song in Cinderella's heart. And I really had to go back through the classic Cinderella to pull up the soundtrack. And I think the song that comes to my mind would be This Is Love. So this is love.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, the soundtrack to Cinderella, I bet you could be so many love songs, but that one certainly is a beautiful one. And I don't know if you saw the remake of the modern day Cinderella with Drew Barrymore. I don't know how many of you viewers have watched that, her version, that story with Drew Barrymore playing the actress. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. But it's actually one of my favorite versions of Cinderella, because in it she has a real moment when she's leaving the ball, and she loses her slipper, and she's just, in a terrible way, and she's crying, and I really felt her in that in that moment so much. And you talk about how songs translate, how moments translate, how music translates. And in that particular version, I really felt Cinderella, because I felt what she was feeling, because I felt like I had been in those very sad, dark moments and places. And true to my story, unique to my story, what happened to me, it's I think that whatever we go through as women, loss in any way, or divorce, or heartbreak, whatever that heartbreak is, I think that universal feeling is what we relate to. And we relate to it in movies, in books, and in songs the same. So Cinderella is always worth watching again, whether it's the cartoon or, the Drew Barrymore playing Cinderella, but I highly recommend it. I highly recommend this book too. It's just, I smile so big. And by the way, I just want to say that I don't think there could be a better spokesperson for this than you, Olivia. Your heart is beautiful. You're beautiful. I've been watching all the other interviews with the ladies, and your spirit just comes through so much. So thank you so much for doing all that you do, and to give us a platform for our stories.
Melissa, that's so kind. Thank you. It is truly my pleasure. I love collaborating with Mila. I've been with Mila from the start. You've been with Mila too, right? She helped you with some other books. So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Your most recent book was the musical Imprint. What was that like? Because that's also an anthology book.
Yes, that's an anthology book, and that was just amazing. And actually, these have sort of kind of crossed together, the two of these books at the same time. And, it just happened that way, because we try to gauge these things. It's like, okay, we're going to put it out, and then, anyway. So the musical Imprint, yes, I co-authored that with a beautiful, she's turned into just one of my best friends, a woman named Dr. Sarah Allen, who is a neuropsychologist. And so she is all about brain activity. And in fact, she has a book out called Raising Brains. She helps parents understand the minds of their kids, but she's also a music lover. And she and I connected over music and conversation one day. And we just very effortlessly started talking about how certain memories take us right back to songs, or songs take us right back to moments. Which one comes first, the memory or the song, the moment, the chicken or the egg? But either way, we got to talking about that. And in that conversation, we knew that there were a lot of books out there that talked about brain science and how your brain reacts to music. But we actually wanted to tell those stories. So each one of these chapters is an author telling a story about how a song marked a pivotal moment in their life. And then we created a musical playlist of all those songs. So anyway, that kind of coincided with the release of Cinderella Monologues. And it got me thinking, and as you were mentioning, it got me thinking the other day, I do have a song called Ballerina that I wrote about a ballerina that I used to admire so much when I was little. And how emotionally I used to look at her and just wish that I could be a ballerina. And I was a little bit more like a, Punky Brewster, just trying to survive and get through the things that I was going through. But her name was Dolores. She was absolutely beautiful in her patent leather shoes and stuff, and I never forgot Dolores. And so one day I sat down and I wrote a song called Ballerina. And it's just all about how, maybe we're all just searching for home and different things. And then I find my healing in the strings of my guitars. And so anyway, I think it's time for a Cinderella song, because we certainly have the motivation and the material and the desire to do it. So yeah, I mean, I could grab my guitar and we could spit out a line.
We can brainstorm a song.
We can brainstorm a line or two if you want to.
Oh my gosh, this only happens live, so you're missing out.
Yeah, this will only happen live. I don't know. I mean, got any good lyrics there, Olivia? She's like, oh no, I'm on the spot.
Well, I wanted to ask you because, music and songwriting has been so much a part of your life. Do you find that there's a difference in songwriting versus the writing, like writing the chapter in this book? Or did it come natural to you because you've been writing songs?
The process of songwriting and the process of writing is different. In fact, I felt extremely nervous and insecure about writing chapters versus a 3-minute song, even though writing 3-minute songs are much of a challenge. It's sort of like how, on Twitter, you've only got so many words. You've got to kind of shave it off if you want to get everything in, and you start taking out the words that are not so useful. So in a 3-minute song, it's like trying to put your chapter into a 3-minute song. You have to start shaving off a lot of those words and only just getting to the furniture that you really need and the story that you want to tell, that you also hope is going to be super universal. So, because that's the connection of songs, right? It's like maybe not every single lyric is your story, but there's something about that lyric that makes you think of your own story. And so that's the key, is telling that in a way that it becomes universal. And even though our books and our stories are very personal, it's the emotion in the stories that we connect to. So music is a lot like that as well. So there are some similarities, but yes, there's a big difference in the process of it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. I guess I'm going to throw out a bunch of keywords. Let's see. Definitely, I love what you said earlier about like infinity. I definitely feel like there's an infinity element, right? Because we've got such a wide range of authors, young, old, different backgrounds, and we're kind of like circling back to one another. I love the relatability. So something about how, we can relate to Cinderella. Cinderella, our sister, maybe like Cinderella, our fine sister.
I'm writing this stuff down.
Okay, Marilyn, help us. Marilyn, an impromptu Cinderella song is exciting. Affinity and infinity is in the moment. I'm glad I get to be part of this live. Yes, Marilyn, throw in some keywords for us. Let's see. It's the infinity that connects us, the infinity of generations, or infinity of, the infinity of legacy.
Let's see. Butterflies, laugh and dream. We're all connected, you and me. Our butterflies, laugh and dream. We're all connected. We're all sisters, you and me. You and me. Just playing around. We can even change this up here when we want a different key, melody.
This is like watching an artist at work. You guys are all so privileged. We're in Melissa Bollea Rowe's studio right here.
Light, dreams, butterflies. We're all sisters, we're all in this love. I don't know, na 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 na. Connected like our hearts in our dreams, 'cause we're all da 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 da. And that's just kind of how you sort of start to build a song. I loved what you did about throwing out the words. And of course, it takes a little bit longer than just a moment. But as you can see, you can kind of make it more of a slower kind of ballady thing, or you can make it a little bit more of a driving fun, roll the windows down kind of a song. But we can continue on with this, and we can end up with our Cinderella song, and it would be so fun. But I love the whole that we're all connected kind of thing, that we're all sisters, you and me, and there's a Cinderella story in you and me, and so maybe we put that in there somewhere. But yeah, that's just a little bit how the process goes. And sometimes when I'm even teaching songwriting, I tell people to do just that, sort of a stream of conscience thing where you just start writing down lines. And I tell them just to get still and start writing thoughts and not worry about structure and not worry about what they're saying. And are they forming the sentence correctly? And then after about 2 or 3 minutes of doing that stream of conscience, you typically can look at your page and there's going to be a couple of things that just jump right out, and you can kind of launch into the song, and you can figure out later, is that going to be the chorus, or is that going to be the lines, or is that going to be the hook? What are we going to do? So it's fun, and I absolutely love it. I know that we don't have enough time during this interview. Look at that. She says, love is our magic wand. I love the beat. Love is our legacy forever. I love is our legacy. Love is our legacy jumps right out at me too. It's like,
That's a good line. Yeah, that's a good line. We need to throw that in there.
You're all sisters, you and me, and love is our legacy. Good job there, Marilyn. That's a good thought. An impromptu Cinderella song is exciting. It is exciting. So you guys can just keep on with your ideas in the comments, and maybe Olivia and I can get back together and figure it out and come up with more and share it with you guys.
Oh my gosh, this is so cool, Melissa. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for jumping in with me and having fun.
So we're going to make a Facebook post, definitely in our group. That's another reason why you want to join our group, so you can be part of this and help us brainstorm an actual song with verses and lyrics that you can contribute, and we're going to make it our theme song. I'm totally with you because I'm channeling Marilyn right now, and like how she hitchhiked. And so this is a roll down your windows, driving in a car, road trip type of song.
Well, those songs are always the best, right? Because they're just they're melancholic, but they're moving for a reason. They're moving in that, they're just they feel good. And you always want that feel. You always want that redemption, because we all, hopefully, and a lot of these stories, they're about that kind of redemption in life. And those kind of songs are always just fun and some of the best. So I really appreciate you guys doing that with me.
And I have to say, I was watching Nashville for the longest time on Hulu. I love that show, Nashville, with Connie Britton. And so what we just did made me feel like I was in the movie.
Really? Good.
The song and the song lyrics. So, and you live in Nashville, so this is amazing.
Yeah, well, the process of songwriting is fun and it's wonderful. And I get, asked a lot about running out of ideas and how do you write songs every day. And I just have to laugh and say, well, it's interesting, because when it's actually who you are and what you do, your brain never turns off. And so you are always, there's always song titles, there's always song ideas. And, probably right now on my phone, there's about 450 that I haven't even gotten to. So no, we never really run out of ideas. They're kind of endless.
Oh my God. I feel like so jazzed. Like we just did that. I have a creative burst now. I was going to ask, do you play other instruments too besides the guitar?
I do. I play that little keyboard back there. And, I'm proud of that. I'm self-taught on both of my instruments. And so that's not necessarily a real brag when you compare it to the skill level and the other artists that are in Nashville. They're phenomenal. But for a girl who kind of grew up the way that I did without any formal lessons and just, a dream in my heart to be at a place now where, I can play my instruments and I can write my songs. I'm pretty proud of that.
The dream in your heart, how did you keep that alive?
Well, I don't know how you keep those, sometimes I would describe it like this. I think sometimes the light, because things happen in life, and I think sometimes that light can be dimmed, but I don't think that light ever really goes away. And so it's always just there on the back burner, but it's always there. And it's sort of like, our faith and stuff. Sometimes, whatever your faith is, sometimes we just go through things and we kind of want to turn away, but ultimately who we are as human beings is, I think that is just innate in us to want to, survive, and not just survive, but thrive. And then after we thrive, I think it's just natural to want to share and give that back, so I just think we're born with a light and it's always there. It's just sometimes, it gets covered up a little bit, but if you just really pay attention, it starts to flicker. And so I know for sure that my light was just always there. And, maybe at times it was dim, but I always found a way to get that spark. And I was having a conversation with someone this morning, and I was saying, I always felt like I had like this little joy button inside of me. Like it was a good thing. Like I wake up most days and I'm super happy. And, some days I have my days and my moments that things where I'm, can be like everybody normal, just irritated or whatever. But for the most part, my default and my reset is joy. And I'm grateful for that. And I think just having gone through a lot of the things I did, it's also about perception and the way that I see the world. Because yes, I could make a list of a million things that happened today, maybe a meeting that didn't happen or go well, or I stubbed my toe, but why do that when I can make a list of the amazing donut I had? Or that's a silly analogy. Or, the new friendships I get to make. And so it's just all about the window that you look out of, and all about the magnificence of life, and also the story, as we all know, of a butterfly and what it has to go through in its cocoon to become this beautiful butterfly. So when you understand that about life, then you just wait for the sun to rise the next day.
Well said, Melissa. And I know you've got to run for another client meeting, another artist you got to support. But Marilyn shares here, she feels jazzed too. She's going to dance through the rest of the day. And thank you, Melissa, for helping to ignite the light within her.
Yes, and thank you, all of you ladies. And I wish that I could personally meet every one of the authors. And I know that we get to do this through technology, but maybe sometime down the road, we'll get to do a big reunion and a book signing or something like that. But yes, in the meantime, I'm off to do another book signing, and hopefully there'll be many, many more to come, and many more collaborations, especially on this one.
So just a crazy idea up there, but I just envisioned Dolly Parton on stage at Grand Ole Opry and singing our Cinderella song. I'm just
Hey, dream, and don't ever stop dreaming, because she's an incredibly beautiful woman, and she certainly would be all about the Cinderella monologues. I can tell you that.
Well, you've got the connections. You're right there in Nashville. So I'm going to put you to work with the Grand Ole Opry, getting you in charge of Dolly, and we're going to get this song on stage. Awesome, Melissa. Thank you so much.
All right. See you soon. Bye.
See you soon. Bye-bye. Wow, that is so incredible. I mean, gosh, I'm just so thrilled how these author spotlights are turning out, and just so grateful that Melissa made the time to come with us on here today. So let me just say, Melissa, I don't want you to be late for your client, so you can go. Yeah. Thank you, Melissa. I don't want to keep you waiting. But so incredible. And this is, just the tip of the iceberg, I feel, for our Cinderella journey. So I really highly encourage you, just buy the book, be inspired by all these amazing women authors, and then join our Facebook group so that way you kind of get a deeper connection with each woman. And we're bringing so many things to you to help you, right, find that relatability and that connection through song, through coaching. I was sitting down with Danny the other day, and she told me about this gratitude rant. And I just, I'm loving that practice. And I've been just, wanting to stay grateful and being grateful and staying grateful for all the things that are happening. I'm grateful to Restream. I'm grateful to connect with these authors. I'm grateful that we have a Facebook group that we can all collectively come together. I'm grateful for each of these women contributing their gifts and talents to make this, such a beautiful community. I'm grateful for Mila, for having this idea to invite other women stories into this compilation book. So, if nothing else today, go on a gratitude rant and use your senses. That's what Danny teaches. Use your senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? And just be grateful for all that you have in the moment. And then also just know that no matter what, you can get through whatever circumstance you're facing with the support of a sisterhood, with the support of each other, and the support of stories and legacy. So we're all here for one another. So thank you so much. Please mark your calendar. Our ebook launch is going to be November 5th. That's a Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern. So you definitely want to be there for that. Perhaps we'll have the finished song by then. So that's another reason why you want to be there for the ebook launch. And then just as a friendly reminder, every book purchase, get together with LaDonna from Home Sweet Home Treasure. She's offering you a bonus thank you, which is a $5 digital gift card. So thank you, LaDonna. She's a fellow co-author in this chapter in the Cinderella Monologues. And so she's making this available for every book purchase. So if you bought 10 books, I think that's 10 digital gift cards. So make sure you give LaDonna your email address. And let's see, what other last comments we have here? Yes, thank you, Marilyn. That's a great sign off. Create an awesome day filled with joy. Make sure your default setting is to joy and to gratitude. And we will all see you again for another continuation of these author spotlights. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend.